Peace. Good morning, family. How you doing? It's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. I would just like to say thank you, and I appreciate you for being here. Like always, today is Friday. Well, it's not like always it's Friday, but like always showing you thanks and gratitude. That's the always. Because it's not always Friday, but today is Friday. So I will correct that. Some people hear things. Just like me, I hear things too. But today is Friday. The last Friday of the month. So for all you October babies out there, it is almost your month. So if you're the type of people or person that celebrate your birthday for the entire month, you got one more day and it's all you. For 31 days, you can celebrate your birthday for all you October babies out there. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for being alive and well on this side of the dirt, like I like to say. But again, in peace and in gratitude, thank you. It is the end of the week. Some of us, it is the beginning of the weekend. For some of us, it is just the end of the week. But again, just saying peace and thanks. All right, so we're going to finish this week off strong. We're talking about courage to begin. We're talking about courage to begin. As you see the proposed question right here. There you go. Right here, you see it? Bam. Do you have the courage to begin? That's an open question. It's something that you can answer, something that you can put inside the chat. Let me tell you what happens when you put things inside the chat. It helps with the algorithm. It actually takes the algorithm and puts it up higher on your news feed. So what I want you to do right now is to take this. Matter of fact, this is what I want today. I'm gonna tell y'all what I want. Good morning. All it says is Facebook user, so I don't know who that actually is. But this is something that I want y'all to do for me, if you can. If not, hey, cool. No harm, no foul. All right, so what I want you to do right now, I'm about to drop a link inside the chat. Let me find it first. I'm gonna drop a link inside the chat. And when I drop that link inside the chat, what I want y'all to do, what I'm interested in you doing, is to actually subscribe to the podcast. And there's a link, and it is right there. Go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe on Anchor. Let me see. Where's the other one at? I'm going to drop the Spotify podcast. So Spotify, we like to listen to your music. Go ahead and subscribe on. Go ahead. Peace. Good morning, Apostle Scott. Go ahead and subscribe on Spotify. Let me see where I want to do the other one. You know what? I'm not going. Y'all know how to find me. I'm going to tell you where to find me. You can find me on Apple Podcasts. You can find me on Google Podcasts. You can find me on Anchor. You can find me on Spotify. You can find this podcast on Amazon Music, which I just launched on. You can also find it on, what's the other one? Podbean. So I'm just trying to expand the brand and put it in different spaces because not everybody's going to be on Google. Not everybody's going to be on Apple. So you meet the people where they are. So for some of you people out there that tell me, oh, I want to get into podcasting, trust me, it's work. But in that work, you're also expanding. Just like right now, I don't know what happened to the music that was playing in the background, but it is A-OK. I can always put it on there because that's just how it works. All right. I don't like that one, but that's just how it works. But I just want to say again, thank you like always, and I appreciate you. So let's go ahead and dive deep. Yeah, this one is cool. Just like that soft ambient music, which kind of helps sometimes the psyche with how, sometimes people think and things. All right, so let's go ahead and jump to it about the courage to begin. A lot of people want to start. A lot of people want to do things. A lot of people just have a concept of what to do. But we're going to talk about the courage to begin. So go ahead and put the word courage inside the chat, just so I want you to get that inside of your mind, get that inside of your head, because we're talking about the courage to begin. Because initially, let me tell you where it's coming from. So I was listening to a podcast 2 days ago. This cat named Mike Barron, Barron. I was listening to Mike Barron, and he had said something that really hit me, and I was like, "Ooh, let me to myself just so I know I can have it. There's something else, but I'll come to that on Monday. So he had said something. He says sometimes a lot of us just need to have the courage to begin. And I was like, yeah, I like that. Because it hit home for me. So I wanted to talk and to communicate about it because it may hit home for somebody else. Do we have the courage to begin? Have you had the courage to begin? Because there is a difference between start and begin, right? The difference between start and begin means you already understood, you are solid in what you're doing, and you have actually took or taken the first step. You've already started the process. You are into it. But sometimes it's going to take courage for you to continue. Or it's going to take courage before that first step is taken. All right. So for some of you that may be new to the platform, you're going to get definitions. If I say red over white, white over red, that means that is the focal point that I want you to focus on. Red, or focus on the words that are in white. So let's go ahead and jump into it for today. So the definition of courage, it says the ability to do something that frightens one. The ability to do something that frightens one. Now, there's no inversion on this because it's real simple and to the point. You know, it should be understandable. You know, when you read it, you can apply it, you can understand it, you can look at it what it is for you, just as well as you can look at it as what it is for something that you're doing, thinking about, or just haven't done at all. So courage, the ability to do something that frightens one. And the second definition, it said the quality of mind of spirit that enables a person to face difficulty, danger, pain, etc. without fear, bravery. And the inversion on this one is white over red, which is the quality of mind or spirit that enables a person to face difficulty. Now, we're not focused on the danger. We're not going to say it is without fear. We're not even going to hone in on the bravery. We're going to talk about the quality of mind and spirit that enables a person to face the difficulty, because it is a mindset. Courage is a mindset. Courage is not something that I'm going to go in Walmart and go buy me some courage, right? I'm going to go to aisle 5. I'm going to go to the manager and say, can you help me find some courage? What website can I go on to find some courage? Now, you can read the definitions of courage, but courage is really a mindset. It is an energy that you form and that you utilize when it is time to use it, when it is needed of you to execute. It's a mindset. And then after it is a mindset, as you can see, it says the quality of mind or spirit that enables a person to face difficulties. It is a mindset that is coupled with the spirit to where you can develop that energy to duplicate that process over and over again, to where there is difficulties, whether it's in your life or difficulties in a situation or something that is surrounding you, to able to push yourself through it. That is when you're facing that difficulty, by being or having or developing courage. So let's tap into begin just a little bit. So the definition of begin is start, perform, or undergo the first part of an action or activity, right? To start, perform, or undergo the first part of an action or activity. And the inversion on this that I want you to pay attention to is white over red, is undergo the first part of an action or activity. Because it says you're undergoing. That means that you have attached or coupled courage, because you know you're about to undergo, or you have assumed, or you have made or finalized your decision in what you're going to perform. And it is the first part of the action. I think courage is like the beginning of action. We'll put that in the atmosphere. Courage is the beginning of action. How do you see that? How do you see courage as the beginning of action. So yesterday we talked about discipline, and we said discipline is blind obedience. It is something that you cannot see the end state or the ending of something, but is the beginning of blind obedience. That means you are going to execute this thing, because at the end of your discipline, the results shows how you actually how you got to that point. But courage gives you the power and the energy to start, the power and the energy to begin. You're undergoing the mental fatigue that is going to take you to say, you know what? I got courage that this is going to be successful. And I have enough courage to undergo this action or activity that I'm about to begin, that I'm about to start. And it is okay. It is okay to begin, because you have encouraged yourself to do it and to push through it. All right, so let's begin the process and really begin to take this deep dive in the courage to begin. And I learned a little something. Like, courage is the combination of fear and faith, and learning how to manage it. I mean, look at it from the perspective. To have the courage to do something within the definition of courage, it is saying to face your fears, right? Pretty much facing the fears. But to have the faith to push through it, even though you have within the fabrics of fear, but how you manage it is how you show your courage. Courage is also your input and your throughput. It's like what you're putting into it. What type of intellectual property are you putting into it? What type of action are you putting into it? Because you're going to have to continue that action in your throughput. That's why I see a coupled courage and discipline shows in the results of the outcome. So courage is your input, your discipline is your throughput, and the results is based on how you began in the process and the discipline that you showed to get through it. And the results of it is the fruit. Just like when it says you can tell a tree by the fruit that it bears, you can tell how much courage you had to start your process and the discipline that it takes you to stay in it. And the results is the seed. The results is the fruit. The result of what you've done. The result of the courage that you had to have in order for you to begin that process, and the discipline that you've shown and the discipline that you had to keep yourself going. So I learned something. It said there's 4 types of everyday courage. And I was looking up discipline, and I was like, wow, 4 types of courage. I'm like, I didn't know that. I learned stuff too every day, and the stuff that I like to put it out there, because it may be something that could be beneficial for you as well. So the 4 types of courage is moral courage, intellectual courage, discipline courage, and empathetic courage. So let's double up on what we spoke about this past day about discipline and work out real as far as what we're talking about, the courage to end. So we're going to talk about discipline courage, because it kind of makes sense, because we talked about discipline yesterday and we're talking about courage today. So let's the one of the 4 everyday courages. Let's talk about discipline courage. So now this courage, it says discipline courage uh, is the courage to be real, reflective, strategic, and focused in the face of constant distractions. Now, there's so many different distractions. There's outside noise. There's all that stuff. But are we disciplined enough to push through the noise? Are we disciplined enough to stay encouraged to keep going? Because those distractions are always going to be there. It just depends on what distractions you allow to distract you, or what distraction that you drown out. What type of noise are you drowning out? What type of you having in your head out, or what type of courage do you have to learn how to continue to drown those noises out? Because for me, it's the same thing. Like I've been working on uh, this old trademark thing, and I'm not gonna lie. There are times where I feel discouraged about it when situations arise, and those distractions that I think shouldn't be there. But when I learn about those distractions, it 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 affects the way that I think, like, I'm like, come on now, like, for real, this is what we're gonna do right now, and it's a distraction. I know it's a distraction, but having the courage and the discipline to keep going, and having the courage to keep pushing through all of the obstacles and the opposition, because setbacks and disappointments happen in our lives, or setbacks and disappointments happen when we're striving to begin a process. Discipline courage helps you to begin and to actually stay on course and stay connected with your own resolve. So what I'm speaking out in the open is something that I have to speak to me too. It's something that you can speak to yourself too, because it is an understanding that arises when we understand that, like, man, I've begun this process, and I'm good at it, but now I need to stay disciplined. Disciplined because I've begun for a purpose. I begin for a purpose, and I have to talk to myself like, come on, man, you got this. And the same thing with you. Come on, you got this. There was purpose behind what you started. Now let's exercise that discipline and show courage to why you began the process overall. Because a lot of times, we have performance anxieties. It's a natural thing. I have it. I'm sure you had it, but it's natural. But what do we do when we feel that way? What do we do when we acknowledge those natural performance anxieties? I mean, it's like, what to do when those anxieties kick in? It's natural. So it's not something wrong with you because you have performance anxieties. Everybody want to be great, want to do something that they feel that everybody's going to love, or that everybody loves to do and to be successful. But we have to have courage to begin with, because not everybody has the courage to begin. And it's not about everybody. At the end, really, it's about you have the courage to understand that I where I am, and I am comfortable about having the courage to begin. And my natural performance anxieties is not going to get the best of me, because I know why. I know why I begin this process. Just like I know why I begin this process of podcasting. And it takes discipline to keep going. It takes discipline to get up. It takes discipline to continue. It takes discipline to figure out, what you're going to talk about today. Just being transparent. Sometimes I don't feel like it. I'm just being honest. I really don't feel like it sometimes. But I look at what was my why. And was courage again. And then I execute, because it took courage to begin. So keep going. Understand your why. Look up discipline, courage. See how you see yourself in it, and then go from there. Because not everybody begins, but you have the courage to begin, and then duplicate that process over and over again. And remember that courage is a mindset. Courage is also an individual sport, just like discipline. But having the courage and the discipline to begin, it is something that is astonishing. And it's a powerful thing to begin, to start something. Don't be afraid to start it. Just have the courage to begin. All right, I want y'all to have a blessed weekend. It's the last September. And enjoy and be blessed. I'll see you here on Monday at 7:30, right here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. Thank you. Peace.